They were in high school when they met, and things got kinda awkward.
Hey there everyone, welcome back to Measure and Mix. Today I'm going to be making some Dollar Tree Farmhouse spring decor. These are all using the Dollar Tree canvases. A few of you expressed some concerns about finding the 8x10 canvases at your Dollar Tree, but you could use any size canvases for these DIYs. Of course, they'll be on a little bit of a smaller scale. I did use some different sizes today, as well as some 8x10s. They were all from Dollar Tree. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Stick around by hitting that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. All right, now let's get started on the DIYs. For the first DIY, I'm gonna use 4 of the 6x8 canvases and 2 of the 8x10 canvases. And I'm actually not gonna use the canvas, I'm just gonna use the frame. So I'm gonna remove the canvas just by taking out the staples with a little pry bar. I'm not gonna show that part because I've done that in previous videos. They're really easy to take out the staples. And I'm just gonna be left with the frames. Now I'm gonna go ahead and stain all of the frames with this Briar Smoke stain by Varathane. I love it. It gives it kind of like a grayish, brownish color. And I'm just gonna set these aside and let them dry. Once the frames are all dry, I am gonna go ahead and start assembling this. I'm gonna make sort of like the terrariums that we used to make with picture frames from Dollar Tree, except I'm gonna do it with these wood frames. So all I'm gonna do with the 4 6x8 wood frames is I'm just gonna make a box with them. So I'm using hot glue to just glue the frames together. But you could use wood glue or E6000, that way it will be more stable, but I just use hot glue for everything, so it works out for me. So now once I have my box built, I want to make my little roof, so that's what I'm going to use the 8x10s for. So I just take one 8x10 and I am just going to place some hot glue along the back side of the frame, as you can see here, and then I'm just gonna place the 8x10 frame kind of tilted so that way it gets glued tilted, so when my 2 8x10 frames touch at the top, they'll create a peak, if that makes sense. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and hot glue the peak at the top of the box. So on the 2 8x10 frames, I thought it needed like a little decorative X pattern. So I'm gonna use these skewers that I got in a pack of like, I don't know how many from Dollar Tree so long ago. And I'm just gonna give them a coat of that Briar Smoke stain. Once they're dry, I am just gonna go ahead and place one on the inside of the 8x10 frame. I just cut off the little pointed part of each skewer. And then I took some hot glue and just hot glued each end of the skewer to the inside of the back of the frame, so that way you couldn't see it from the front. And I just did that one diagonal one way, and then I took the other skewer and did it diagonal the other way. And then I did hot glue in the middle where the skewers touch, just a little dab of hot glue just to keep it secure. And then I just did the same thing on the other side to the other 8x10 frame, and that was it. I decorated this with some lamb's ear and a little candle, and I think it's just really pretty and farmhouse, and it has a nice spring touch with the lamb's ear added to it.
It's true. And then he said, I wrote you a love song, and I tried to make it beautiful.
For the second DIY, I'm going to use 4 of the 8x10 canvases, but I think the 6x8 or the 5x7s would work in place of the 8x10s. What I'm going to do is just remove the canvas, so I am left with 4 frames. Then I'm going to take 2 of the frames and remove 1 of the 8-inch pieces off of each frame. So they are held in by these little staples or prongs. So I just gently rock it back and forth on each side, and the piece of wood comes loose. loose. Then I just took some little pliers and pried out the little prongs on each side. And like I said, I did that to 2 of the frames. Then I left the other 2 frames just as is and normal. Now I'm going to take that briar smoke stain and I'm going to give these all a coat of that stain and let them dry. Once they are dry, I'm ready to put my little ladder together. Okay, so the 2 frames that I opened up and took the 8-inch sides off of, those are going to be the top and the bottom of my ladder. So I'm going to create the rungs by hot gluing one of those open frames, the unopened side, to one of the 8x10 frames on the 8-inch side. And then I'm going to take the other 8x10 frame and hot glue that to the other frame. And then I'm going to take the last opened up frame and glue that 8-inch side to the last 8x10 frame so that I have a row of frames that look like a ladder. And then I'm going to flip it over and use my staple gun to secure the back. You could definitely use wood glue for this and clamp it, and then probably also use a staple gun just to make sure it was secure. As you can see here on this first rung, I couldn't get my staples lined up, so I had a lot of staples in that one. But then the other 2 rungs, I only did 3 staples. And then that way it was really secure. So to decorate this ladder, I'm going to use these 3 milk jars from Dollar Tree and some of this wire jute twine from Dollar Tree as well. So what I'm going to do is just take the wire twine and wrap the very top of the milk jar round once with the wire twine and then twist it around so it holds it on itself. And then with the rest of the twine, I'm going to wrap that over the first rung of the ladder. And then I'm going to just twist the rest of that twine around itself, use a little hot glue to secure it down, and then that way it's going to create a hanger so I can hang my milk glass jar on these rungs. And then I did that with all 3 milk glass jars, and I kind of did them opposite of each other. So I hung one on the first rung on one side, and then did the middle on the other side, and then the bottom on the opposite side. Lastly, I took these lavender florals from Dollar Tree and just placed them in the milk glass jars, and I love how this turned out for spring, and you can decorate it for any season, use it all year round.
And now they're singing their love song, and they sing it kind of beautiful.
For the last DIY, I'm going to use 4 of the 5x7 canvases. I removed the canvas from the frames. This time I'm going to set the canvas aside and use those later. I'm going to come back and paint the frames with some white chalk paint and let those dry. And while those are drying, I'm going to paint the canvases with some of this silver metallic gray paint and some black acrylic paint kind of mixed together to give this a galvanized look. I did that for all 4 canvases. Once the canvas and the frames were dry, I'm going to go ahead and put the canvas back on the frame. You can hot glue the canvas back to the frame, but I have my staple gun out from the last project, so I just went ahead and restapled the canvas back to the back of the frame. I did this for all 4 of the frames, and then I flipped the frames over with the canvases, and I cut off the excess canvas around the frame with a box cutter. Now I want to make that same X detail as I did in the first DIY. So I got some skewers out, and I am just going to go ahead and lay them out so that way they fit inside the front of the frame. So I just cut them down to size, and then once they were all cut to size, I just went ahead and put a coat of white chalk paint all over them and let them dry. Once they were all dry, I just applied them back in the frame, going from one corner to the other corner, making it an X design. Some of them I had to hot glue down, and some of them I didn't because they were such a tight fit. Now I'm going to put my planter box together just like I did with the first DIY, just by hot gluing that one side to another frame and then continuing that with the rest of the frames until I have a box. So I saw this type of planter box at Home Goods and I saw one at Big Lots, and I thought I could recreate it. Even if I had the money to purchase one outright, I still like DIYing some things. It's just fun for me. I just like creating. So anyways, I needed a bottom for my planter box, so I just placed it on top of some foam board and traced the inside of the planter box and then cut that out with my box cutter, and then just placed that piece inside my planter box and secured it down with some hot glue on the inside. Now, I went the extra step here to add little feet to my box by just adding these little wooden beads. Now, these weren't from Dollar Tree, but you can get wooden beads at Dollar Tree, and it doesn't matter what color they are because I just went and put a coat of white chalk paint on them anyways. Lastly, to finish off my planter box, I added some floral foam, and then I had these hydrangeas from a long time ago. They are from Dollar Tree, and I had already cut the stems off of them, so I thought I would use them to fill up this box, and I think it looks really pretty. I love how it turned out. It can be used all year round, but especially for spring, it just brightens everything up.
They were in high school when they met, and things got kinda awkward. With sparks in the air, he would stare at her in class, and she would try to act cool, but it was obvious, like, ooh.
Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed these DIYs. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram and Facebook so I can see your DIYs, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.